dive off the deep end, deep end. No, I don't need a reason to lose control. Pour me a glass, I toss it back. Forget responsibility. It's hard to be 23 and don't know what's in front of me. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels. Will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels. Will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Wake up, it's a Monday morning. Life really shouldn't be so boring. Nothing is really that important, just let go. Pour me a glass, I toss it back, forgetting my reality. It's hard to be 23 and don't know what's in front of me. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels. Will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels. Will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels. Will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Sleep is for the dead, not looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels. Will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up.
It's been dark way too long in this place. That bright smile long gone been replaced. From ear to ear I see that fear in your face. Tell me when the last time you felt safe, cause there's some evil people in the streets. Evil at your front door, creeping while you sleep. It's time to raise up, show that evil we ain't weak. We don't turn the other cheek, I can show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up. We go through bad days, hard times, low pay, high crime, pathways to a life without sunshine. I'm the lifeline. With this life, I'm gonna be the pipeline, shining in the nighttime. Bet on me to swoop down. I'ma go toe to toe. Already know that I'm never gonna back down. Bet on me to stand tall. I take on anything for my crew. Bet I risk it all. Wicked, wicked people in the streets. Corruption in the politics and the police. It's time to raise up. Take a stand against the seat. We won't take a back seat. I can show you how to be strong. Come on, follow me. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up. 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 If I get knocked down, I'ma get back up. If I get knocked down, I'ma get back up. If I get knocked down, I'ma get back up. I'ma get back up. I'ma get back up. I'ma. Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. Yeah, no more running from that bad guy. Don't worry about it. I'm right here. What's up? I know that journey been hard for you. Okay, I ain't giving up. We ain't giving up. I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked down, I get back up.
Yeah, I'm a dead man walking by day. Wondering if there's medicine I can take. Wait until the sun goes down, that's when I can let it out. You can call me crazy, I call it fate. Transformation taking over me. From dusk till dawn, I'm digging my way up the grave. From dusk till dawn, I'm staring my fears in the face. From dusk till dawn, I got to hell to raise. They've got a price to pay. From dusk till dawn, from dusk till dawn. I can feel the ice run through my blood, surges through my body all at once. My heart pumps in the dead of night. My feet run into the fight, right into the fire of my soul. Let the transformation take control. From dusk till dawn, I'm digging my way up the grave. From dusk till dawn, I'm staring my fears in the face. From dusk till dawn, I got to hell to raise. They've got a price to pay. From dusk till dawn, from dusk till dawn. From dusk till dawn, I'm digging my way out the grave. From dusk till dawn, I'm staring my fears in the face. From dusk till dawn, I'm digging my way out the grave. From dusk till dawn, I'm staring my fears in the face. From dusk till dawn, I got to hell to raise. They've got a price to pay. From dusk till dawn, from dusk till dawn.
Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to this beautiful broadcast brought to you by G2 Esports. I'm TV. I'm joined by Alsaik, and we're going to be casting and joining you watching G2HEL versus Gaming Barcelona on Liga Nexo.
Super excited to be here. Thank you for the introduction, TV. I'm Super excited to see how this game plays out. Of course, this is a decider game for playoffs, right?
Absolutely.
2-4 records for both these teams. So it's going to be very important for both these teams to give it all on the Rift today.
Absolutely, and I feel like G2Hell really needs to, show what they got today, because this is the match that can decide a lot going through playoffs, because they're tied currently at the 6th slot on the table, and basically the top 6 team goes forward, the others don't, so we really need that win.
Absolutely. Looking at the standings here as well. Again, Gaming Barcelona coming off of a 2-win victory, right? So they kind of have some momentum behind their wings here. But G2Hell have been performing very well, of course, and they've been very close to being giving a hard fight. So I'm just excited to see what kind of picks we see. We've been looking through the OP.GGs, and we were saying that I think there's going to be for sure bans in terms of the Ivern. I saw that one of Barcelona's players plays a lot of Zed, so it'd be very interesting to see that come out on the Rift. Not too often.
That would be definitely a pocket pick to look out for.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, for example, even if that comes through, like for example, Rim has been playing so well these control mages. She's been like the glue that the team needs in order to perform, and I feel like in terms of the matchup itself, by the champion pool itself, I feel like Rim would be okay with that. So even if that comes through, let's hope that G2L are definitely prepared for it. And yeah, we've been saying about the upwards trend that Gaming Barcelona had. They had an amazing last week with the 2 gaming days, with the 2 match days being 2 wins for this team. They picked up a win against the Dolphins, and the other one, I think it was against Monta. But yeah, middle of the pack teams, they've been getting a few wins. They need to show up to see if they will manage to break through into the top 6 to make sure that they'll go to playoffs. Meanwhile, G2Hell, a totally different story. I don't really know where to put them in the standings, like in the power rankings, in the power rankings for that say, because they basically just won 2 games. One was against the Guinea Pigs, which they are last place, no wins, and the other win was against the unbeaten team that currently stands on 2nd place. Falke? I think it's Falke.
Falke I'm have to trust you on that.
They beat them. We had Zenith Penta on that game. Like that was crazy. Like I want every single game from G2L to be like that one.
I mean, it's got to be like 2 sides of the same coin, right? So much can change from when it comes to like competitive play, right?
Absolutely.
And I think seeing the peaks that G2Hell have had, you got to have like belief in this team, right? You got to be able to be like, this is a team that can win given the right conditions, given the right champions. And at the end of the day, a lot of it, not everything that's on draft, but I think it's obviously going to play a big role in determining whether or not to get a good game. Of course, it is a best of 1, right? So there is no do-overs, right? You're either in or out. So yeah, just have to leave it out.
That also leaves some, some room for upsets. Like for example, the one we've probably seen against Falke. And that makes total sense that G2 is still adapting. They are still ramping up in power. It's their first time participating in Liga Nexus, so it's all a learning curve. It's always a learning pathway that they need to experience.
Yeah.
And I do have trust in MTest and all the coaching staff and everything, that they will kind of fix the issues that we've been seeing throughout the rest of the season. For example, I do believe that the team has been having good early games. They also ban for it. They also ban early game threats, especially for bot lane, I feel. So they make sure they go by in a quiet manner on the early game. They managed to come out ahead a few times here and there, or even. But then the mid to late game transition is where they kind of have been losing a little bit of their power. They lose a lot of fights around those objectives when the moment comes. And I feel like that's been the main issue that the team had. But let's see that if the coaching staff and the girls did all the homework and they are prepared for today's match.
I think that looking at like you saying, the performance up against, you said it was, I forgot the name, Falca, right? Falca Esports. Yeah. The way they performed there and the way that they executed that game, I think it shows growth, right? And that's the most that you can definitely ask for, right? Even when you're losing, you just got to look at the game, see what you did good. And I think the culmination of that effort and of the time they've played so far has definitely shown fruition. It just, you know, now you're up against the wall. Last game, playoffs on the line, top 6 to advance, and you're up against Gaming Barcelona, who, you know, hopefully will give them a good game. But obviously, we're here G2, so we want to win and just kind of hope for the best.
We hope for the best. That's exactly it, Alsaik. And I do hope, and I do feel like people at home are also cheering like us. They are also cheering for G2L to bring the performance they brought against Falke. Maybe we can get another Penta. Maybe this time around it can be to any other player. Maybe cool. Cultist. Maybe Sheena Penta. Like I remember she had one in Rek'Sai a while back in Equally Sports Cup, if I'm not mistaken, and that was a moment itself. So let's see if the girls can ramp up and show us the performance that we need to see from them. And especially, as we've been saying today, I know I may sound like a broken record, but this is playoffs on the line. This is the seventh match day of Liga Nexo. They're currently tied for the 6th spot, these two teams. And Univ just won the game against... wait, let me see if I get the name correct here. They got the win against Kiwis on a kind of upsetting finale with the backdoor from Mundo, but they just win Mundo against Kiwis, which means that they are basically just one win away from whoever comes out winning this match. So being 6th place is about the game today, but going forward with the rest of the regular season, it's still possible to catch even better positioning going through the playoffs.
Yeah, and what do you think is going to be like a big focus for G2L going into this game, right? Going back off of previous games, right? You were talking a little bit about how maybe the macro faltered in the transition from the early to the mid game. Yeah. What do you believe? Like, I'm curious to hear your opinion. What do you think is something they could pick up in regards to that and maybe change going into this game?
Well, going into this game, I do feel like G2 needs to stay with the comfort they've been having on the early game side of things, but they need an insurance policy. And what I mean by an insurance policy is that hopefully Zenith gets a carry pick on the top lane, that she can be independent, she can be on the side lane pushing, she can make and create a lot of pressure and a lot of time for the team. Meanwhile, the rest of the team, they should play control, they should play a good concise game like they know how to do. For example, the MF Nautilus has been working great. Sejuani or Skarner for Sheena also could be a really good idea to at least stall things out, to make sure that then Rim and Zenith have all the damage in the world. Even Rim herself, she can play a little bit more control-based game. She doesn't need to go for all those kills. She doesn't need to go all in with an assassin playstyle or something like that. That is not the case here. I do feel like, for example, the Talia has been working well. It's good for controlling the team fights. It's amazing around objectives. It can get very creative with the Weaver's Wall. So I feel like if we bring all those elements together,
right?
Yeah, if we bring them all, we create the G2L Avengers. We should be good to go.
I mean, we just kind of have to hope that they can perform in that way and that all those pieces do indeed come together, because it is a lot easy. It's a lot harder, right? I think in general to get to a good point in like the early game and then maintaining it, right? I think maintaining it is a easier process to learn, maintaining leads versus building them in the first place, right? Usually that's, I feel like, where teams struggle more. And so seeing that they already have step A done, which should be the harder part, step B hopefully just flows naturally from their over practice and just being in those positions, right?
I mean, absolutely. Like if they're just able to create that a little bit of space that allows them to transition better, and hopefully they don't overlook the objectives in the early game, because if they are trying to catch up when the enemy team has already like 3 Drakes going for the 4th and they are forced into bad fights, that's when they usually lose the advantage or just the gap, the gold gap blows out of proportions. So yeah, I do totally see it. and I hope they can explore that in a healthy manner, by not forcing everything so much. I mean, I know Cologne Blue, for example, when she's on those engage picks, she will always go for it. Maybe here we need to slow down things a little bit to make sure that there's space, there's time for the right fights, to choose the correct fights in order to win it. Meanwhile, just right now thinking about what could the draft be, I can see that, for example, Gaming Barcelona mid laner loves the AD mid laners. So
yeah,
that be a thing. Could we just make sure that we ban out some things and force it into some sort of discomfort? Maybe playing some other AD non-assassin-ish picks. Maybe that could be one angle. Maybe that could be exploited. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I would have been very curious to see. Like, I unfortunately haven't watched all of Gaming Barcelona games. I haven't watched any of their games actually. So unfortunately, but I will say, I'm sure G2L have done extensive research into their play.
Yeah.
And if you look back at the games that they have played, if you analyze like what were their weakest, or that's obviously who you want to target. You get a lot of AD champions in the mid lane. Naturally, you have AP, AD jungler, some sort of at least a combo idea in mind, right? And so by eliminating some of those more common comfort champions, you're obviously damaging things, like especially if the jungler might not be used to playing a AD carry style champion. So I think that like you said, it's really just focusing on whoever you think is going to be the lane they want to play through, right? That's the key point here.
Yeah, that's for sure one of the key points. And I do believe, personally speaking, and I hope that Sheena plays for Zenith, make sure that she's ahead of the curve. And I hope that that's what we get to see in this game, because even looking at the picks that might come from top lane, usually they are on the tanky side, usually they are on the weak side of things for Gaming Barcelona. So I feel like this could be a little bit exploited. Zenith has shown us how great she is on carry picks. She even had a Penta on Aatrox a few weeks ago, so that could totally happen here. I can see it being one way to create a solid pressure point on the map, and that could be a win condition for G2L.
Yeah, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see until we get into the game, as Champ Select should be coming up here pretty soon, as we've been told by Prod. So I'm very excited just to kind of get into the game. I wish I had a G2 jersey like you, man. I don't have one. I'm a little bit too poor right now, but hopefully pretty soon after this game. Tell you what, G2L wins this, it'll be like a blessing. You know, the heavens are telling me I need to get that merch. Right?
All right, and you know where to get it, right? G2esports.com/shop. Like, just go there.
Just remind me one more time.
Reminding everyone at home, G2esports.com/shop. You just gotta go there and check it out for yourself. I mean, they even have, and this is nobody told me to say this. They even have the remake of the 2019 MSI Champions jersey, which is a staple on European League of Legends. So,
of course,
if you want the chance to grab it as soon as you can, because it might sell out very, very soon.
Who can forget the iconic victory against TL?
We might have gotten a little bit lucky with the draw in the finals, but they took out the Chinese team for us, so that's you know, they did their part.
Definitely.
Oh, what an amazing moment. And the next MSI is coming right up, so we should keep an eye on the boys as well, as they are going to Canada, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's Toronto, right?
Oh wow!
I think so.
I wasn't even.
It's Canada VCT. The Valorant team is already there in Canada, and I'm pretty sure that the League of Legends team for MSI is also Canada. I'm not sure if it's also Toronto, but it's also Canada for sure. So yeah, a lot of things going on in there.
Something to consider about, right? If you're a G2 fan, you know, hopefully they'll make it. I mean, I think it's confirmed already, right? They placed in finals, so but we're gonna head on over into the draft now.
Here we go.
So, Gaming Barcelona. We start off Gaming Barcelona on the blue side, G2 on the red side. Let's see how the draft goes.
Let's see. We do have red side counter pick. That could be, again, an amazing opportunity for Zenith. And we immediately see what we were talking about prior to this game and to this Champ Select. the AD mid laners are being
Targeted a little
evaporated from the champion pool.
Yeah, I think that Yone, just a good that champion is pretty unfun to play against. Being able to go in on
I'll have
fights
to agree.
and still be able to miss all your abilities, get out, and then still do like moderate damage is really annoying. So getting rid of it early, especially up against a mid laner who plays champions like that, is probably really good. Also gets rid of like possibility like Sejuani Yone, which is very strong combo. Just more of what we were talking about, right? Prior, and then now the Fury Band comes to another AD carry for the jungle, going to be taken and removed from the game.
All right, I'm not quite sure if we have this sort of information right now, but I do have a feeling that Gaming Barcelona might have been late to Gem Select, and that's why they're missing out bans right now. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. We were you know we were kind of stalling a little bit prior to the Gem Select. And now we kind of know why. We kind of can see why. And the punishment is probably losing those 3 first bans. Maybe more. We don't clearly know. But that's a good advantage already for G2L to start exploring.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're leaving a lot of your carries up for Catalyst. And, you know, you were talking about safe picks, right? Now this gives just more room to get rid of some of those stronger, dangerous picks. Corki is going to be the first pick for Gaming Barcelona. Pretty standard. Can be shifted towards mid or ADC. Really good, just comfortable, safe pick. I like it. You know, I like Corki on the first pick.
Yeah, they do have Corki. It's one of their mid laners, one of their AD carries champion of election. And I do feel like that went a little bit under the radar. Maybe G2L is just saying, bring it on. We know how to fight it in the bot lane.
We can win that. We're better.
It's not that dangerous in the early game. Maybe that's the whole thought process, because we've seen, for example, some Draven bans from G2L. This is not the case. This is not a Draven. It's not as scary as that. So probably they're just gonna fight it head on. Let's see how they decide to draft around it. For now, we see a REL, so we see already blah 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 again on the aggressive engage type of support. Oh no. I was talking about Draven, thinking that Corki would go to the bot lane. Have I been bamboozled?
It has the flex potential. You've been.
I don't like this. This is scaring me a little.
Okay. Hold on. Oh, they flipped it. Okay. They're just scaring us a little bit.
We're safe.
Yeah, so there ends up being a Pantheon lock-in there. That's probably going to be jungle. Could also still be support, right? Depending on how they want to switch things around. But that Corki seemingly now probably going to the ADC role. Now Poppy being hovered, very strong counter pick up against the Rel and Vi. I like it. It just makes sense, you know, especially just like another flex, right?
It does. Unfortunately for G2L, that is a great pick for Gaming Barcelona. Poppy here has a lot of value. Already being a weak side top laner, most likely, it's already a very solid blind pick, and it counters immediately the engage potential from Rel. It doesn't stop Vi ultimate, but it does stop the engage from Rel, which could be one of the easiest ways to get an actually really nice combo going. And that one is immediately eliminated.
Or like the follow-up. Right. The Vi can always use the ultimate there, cease and desist, to lock in on the target.
And then she's probably just isolated there, which is which isn't great.
Then she just pops, right? I feel like I see that all the time in my solo queue games, you know. There's no follow-up, and then the Vi just pops. But luckily, with the Varus there, that's going to give him a little bit more catch, I would say, with the Chain of Corruption, especially being able to throw that out onto a stationary target like we were talking about just now, kind of makes up for the fact that the Realm might not be as effective as before, as now after the Poppy pick was selected.
All right, absolutely. And we now have confirmation that Gaming Barcelona has the 2 latest bans. They are able to take out Fiora from Zenith, which again would be amazing as pressure on the side lane. On the early game, she wouldn't really have that much fun against Poppy, I feel. But as the game goes on, there's no way Poppy can actually beat Fiora in a fair fight. Like if Fiora just pops the ulti, pops the vitals, and then the Poppy, doesn't matter how much HP she has, she will eventually go down, because the steadfast presence lasts for a bit of a second or 2 seconds maybe, and then Fiora's Q just gets up again. Gets out of cooldown, and Fiora can chase forever if there's the length on top lane to do it, I feel like Fiora will always catch up and eventually get the kill on Poppy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it makes for a really annoying lane to play. Even like you said, the early isn't easy, and moreover, I think it makes for a constant split push threat. Right? We don't really talk about split push. I feel like split push hasn't really been a big of a thing over like the past couple of like months and years in League, right? As commonly, but I do say with like I've been seeing the resurgence of it with picks like Yorick and things like that, especially with Baus, right? I don't know, Baus, the way he plays the game, and
the proxy.
Exactly, right? So
and
I
the
think
proxy
strats, strategies there.
The proxy stock is through the roof right now.
Absolutely. I think that the value has been shown. Oh, hover. Okay.
We did see that. We did talk about that prior to the game, about the possibility of a Z on Gaming Barcelona. It's not going to go through. It's not going to go through. You see, like, the Yone was banned. The Z here itself might have been a shot on the foot. So they decide to pick up Ari for that mid lane, having a little bit of control, a little bit of movement on the team fights, which is always good.
And AP damage.
It's AP damage. They needed that. They needed some AP damage.
Whoa.
And we got... Okay. Okay, is that Poppy support then? Poppy's going to
I mean, yeah, that has to be Poppy support, right?
Okay, makes sense.
Looks like they're just shifting it over onto the support role now. It's gonna Singe being hovered here on the...
What is going on? Okay.
They heard us talking about proxies, and they're like, we got to make their dream come true, you know?
Maybe that was the angle. Still, we got a little bit of a classic meme, the Renekton counter pick, the Renekton last pick. Hopefully it goes well for Zenith. But let's see how Renekton here deals with the Ambessa. Like, we've seen Renekton used to combat Ambessa quite a few times. I feel like it's a lot about, for example, the empowered W being able to break shields, the fact that the stun lasts a little bit longer, make sure that Ambessa is standing still, that you could land a full combo. Still, Renekton has a little bit of extra HP on his ultimate to make sure that he comes out alive of those dangerous trades, and hopefully it goes well. I feel like this top lane matchup is a little bit it's not clearly one-sided, so it can go both ways. It just depends a lot on the first jungle pathing, I feel.
No, certainly. I think that it's a matchup that can definitely go both ways. One that requires skill expression from both sides. I think, like you said, generally Renekton is seen as that sort of like the counter sort of favored, right? But that does not mean Ambessa is like it's a fully losing lane.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. So it's going to be dependent upon the Pantheon and how well, they want to focus that lane versus other lanes. Obviously, you have the Ahri in the mid, so that lane is probably going to be pretty self-sufficient most of the time. And in the bot lane with the Corki Poppy, I feel like it's going to be hard to make like ganks from G2 onto that lane, especially with, because now you have the Poppy to prevent some of the engages and follow-ups from that rel. I think top lane probably will see a lot of action, or maybe not. I'm completely wrong, and I'll have to eat my words.
That's absolutely true. We're talking about how the first gank can have such a big impact on this type of matchup between Ambessa and Renekton, but the fact is that we really don't know. It might just be an island that gets... They leave it alone, they don't touch it, they just play the rest of the map and hope for the best. Whoever comes out winning on that matchup, congratulations, you can take down a tower or two, and that's it. Then we just team fight around the map. Maybe that's the scenario we're walking into, as we don't really know. But yeah, I feel like this game can definitely be one of those games that G2 has to control on the early game. They go to the mid game, going even, they're good on objectives, and then suddenly one fight can change everything. Let's hope that fight changes for the better.
Absolutely. I gotta ask you now, go looking at the totality of the drafts, what do you think, who has the favor here going into the match, right? G2 kind of has that a more pick / catch someone out kind of comp, right? You pick a target and you're just like, that's the one we want. We want that person to be eliminated from the map immediately, versus Barcelona's comp, where I feel like it's a lot more like team fight centered almost. So who would you say kind of has a little bit of a draft edge here?
I can see it. I would say out of the draft alone, I do feel like G2 has a slight advantage. And I mean slight because when you have a team that is consisting of Pantheon, Ambessa, Corki, and for
Ari.
example Poppy support, Ari,
Yeah.
it just screams to me that they need to come out ahead. They have that extra pressure. Like if we don't win early, we don't win at all. I feel like there's that added pressure to the Gaming Barcelona team. Meanwhile, on the side of G2Hell, we do have Varus that can scale very well, especially if he's running a little tempo with a one-hit kind of build. It can shred through tanks, but it needs some time in the laning phase to make a real good impact. We have Rel and Vi to make sure that the engages are clean. The follow-up might be a little bit messy, so we need to be extra careful with those Vi engages. Sheena really needs to know when to press R or not. Otherwise, she might find herself isolated in the backline of the enemy team in the middle of 5 or 4 elements and just gets popped. That's totally not the ideal scenario here. So draft alone, I do give a slight advantage to G2Hell, but I feel like for G2Hell to execute their game plan, for them to execute whatever they drafted, they need to play really well with vision.
Yeah.
So that then, with that vision, they can actually get those picks that you mentioned.
The vision and the timings are going to be so important.
Yeah.
Tracking where the jungler is going to be on the map, so you know that when you can make a dive, because they have wonderful tools at their disposal if they want to use them for dives and invades. I would say, I think I have to agree with you just a little bit that G2Hell have a slight advantage. I would say, if anything, I feel like G2Hell just have maybe an easier sort of comp to say. I know it requires a lot more coordination, but the game plan is clear, right? You go forward, you pick a target, you get rid of them, and then the fight kind of just like slowly, follows from there.
And then you suddenly find yourself with a man advantage in this game.
Yes, exactly. Versus, I think Barcelona, where it's a lot more reactive. It feels like they have to react to what G2Hell is doing in these fights. So I think it requires them to be a lot more patient overall. But right now, heading into the game on the Rift, enough of the blabbering. Let's get to some gameplay.
Let's get some gameplay. Oh, advantage to Gaming Barcelona with Spear from Igon onto Sheena. Just traded a little bit of vision. As we can see, Cultist is answering on the bot side with the deep ward. And that's basically the name of the game right now. Just trading a little bit of vision to make sure that they know where the enemy jungle is, make sure that you know what pathing is taking. And yeah, basically they just need to keep their eyes open to see where the first gank's gonna go. Meanwhile, we do have a sweeper on the side of Gaming Barcelona. An extra little bit of gold for Ari immediately on the mid lane.
Yeah. If it was a couple patches ago, that would also given over XP. What a better time, some might say. And that some is me, because you needed one less minion, like about one less minion for level 2, and you would have actually resulted in the lead here.
That's true.
Lane. But regardless, you do get the gold, so we can't, we can't be too upset here. As looking at the bot lane, everything coming across pretty standard here. Like you were saying, you just kind of wanted to get vision in the early game of where these junglers were. Looks like they're going to be having sort of opposite of each other. I wonder if Sheena will look
going in
to just... Oh, yeah. Going in Colombo a little bit. Dextile just getting poked at. Natural taking a big chunk there. Oh, nearly at half health. That's a really good start off to this bot lane here for G2Hell.
A good trade for G2Hell. Now they have to respect the level 2, which is coming right now. Nanchuko is ready to fight. Colombo Blue does not need to engage right now.
Colombo Blue sitting in the bush. They're just gonna wait for that wave to come in for them, and the patience is key here, right? Of course, early on here with the Poppy abilities available, with the steadfast presence, it's just gonna be really, really hard for this relative to get anything kind of done prior or while that summoner while that spell is up. And then the damage from the Corki, the range, it makes it really hard for this Varus to step up. So it's just going to be farming for a while until maybe Sheena can get down here and help out the bot lane. But all in all, I think everything will be just all right for them. Some more trading coming through, and I'm still going to have to back on up from that wave as everything comes through nice and cleanly. Hygon is clearing towards the bot side, so I'm expecting just a recall. But looks interesting as we pan over to the top side, back up taking some damage. But all in all, what are we thinking here?
I mean, as long as things keep even on this bot lane for now, things are good for G2Hell. Like, they don't need to be fighting this one right now, right away, because as we seen, Cultist is running the Lethal Tempo. It's supposed to be an only hit Varus. It will only have like a power spike later on to the game. It's not like it's playing, I don't know, Comet Lethality Varus that would be trying to win the lane, trying to beat by poke. They had a good trade level 1. From Blue is a little bit damaged from those consistent trades. So it's kind of dangerous to go all in. Oh my god, Rim!
As Rim gets first blood and executes for it as well there under the mid lane. We barely panned over there. Only was able to get a snapshot of that as Alan Stark loses the flash as well. Rim keeps hers. So overall, going to be very, very happy with that as they both come back to the lane with a Dark Steel and TP.
Alsyke, I was not expecting that at all. I was literally just seeing a bubble land, and I'm like, okay, she's out. She's not gonna get killed by the tower. No, she goes in. She makes sure that first blood is on our side, and then gets executed. So he didn't even give a kill to Gaming Barcelona.
If anything, it's a faster back for Rim, if you think about it, right? It's literally the best case scenario. Yeah, of course. It's the best case scenario for Rim there. You just can't be upset with that. Now going to be coming back into lane, of course, also with the cleanse, going to help out just for a little bit more, but got to give props to her right there. As we see the Poppy pinging, looking maybe to make a play, me on the top side. Just typical top side stuff. Renekton cannot walk up currently as Column Blue, looking to get a fight going. Poppy knocks back. The steadfast press is going to be able to stop that snap, but the damage from Rim is so good as Alan Stark has to try and run away. The flash machine closes the distance. Rim picks up another summoner spell, and just like that, Feat of Warfare claimed by G2Hell at 5 minutes into the game.
There we go. That's the number 3 kill, and that's Feat of Warfare, as you said. Amazing start for G2Hell. They had no business being this strong early on the game, but they are making sure that Gaming Barcelona doesn't get anything out of it. The chase was on point. The bubble that basically stopped Ahri from doing anything in order to save that Poppy was brilliant. Rim is having an amazing early game.
And Rim still hasn't used her flash. Still has it available. Dark Seal is now at 3 stacks. I think we were getting like the setup here for a spectacular Zoe game. And I'm gonna hope that Sheena and the team G2Hell can recognize that and start putting more resources towards this mid lane, because this is definitely now the lane you want to play through.
Absolutely, you should now always play where Zoe is. Make sure that she has a little bit of a wall in order to land those amazing bubbles. And if a bubble lands, the follow-up is crazy from G2.
Oh,
so that's all they need to do. They just need to land some bubbles, chase through it. Sheena can just dive the composition. No Poppy is gonna stop that. And then maybe one arrow from Cultist, and that's it.
Absolutely, Cultist. Now looking at a lane swap backup, trying to get out of a poor top lane scenario, looking to get down towards the bot side of the map. As Sheena, a little bit in an awkward position here. Hygon being contested. Just gonna back on away. Meanwhile, pounding over to top side Zenith. Gotta be a little bit careful there as the Poppy. Corky obviously going up towards the top side means that backup engaging right now. Sheena looking to take a fight with Hygon, and backup is a little bit too busy with this wave that they can't really stop this invade. So Hygon just has to deal with a jungler in their bush.
Oh, Rim gets got by a charm. Nothing really dangerous is gonna happen. The AQ from Ahri. Oh, but look, I don't know what happened meanwhile, but look at... well, Alan Stark's HP is...
Wow.
So low.
No, yeah, and you force out the Spirit Rush from Alan Stark just off of one bubble. And the TP coming out as well. Rim is playing this lane beautifully. Just props to her overall. Now you see Sheena coming down mid lane, right? No TP available to them. Just recall right now. This is a great time when you have Zenith here as well. They're going to force backup off the tower. Dextal is here to cover as well, but they're just giving everything up. Gonna recall, and Zenith can TP to the top, and it's just beautifully done to deny. Look at this. The denial of XP here is ridiculous.
That's amazing.
From G2Hell.
That's amazing. To be fair, I didn't quite understand where the decision from Gaming Barcelona came to swap out the top lane to bot. I feel like bot lane was doing okay. They were kind of winning the matchup. top lane was completely even slight advantage for backup. And then suddenly they found themselves in this scenario where they just give for free 2 waves and 2 tower plates to Cultists. Like, this gave them no profit at all.
As Hycon has to use the I forget, I think it's Star, I forget the name of the Grand Starfall, I believe it is.
Grand Starfall, yeah.
Escape from the grub pit. Has to use the ultimate. We'll only be able to get 2 of those. We didn't comment on it either, but Cloud Drake was also taken by G2 HEL, so just getting a little bit closer towards you know, claiming that boots upgrade there. Overall, gold lead already ballooning to nearly 2K here for G2 HEL at 9 minutes. That's a wonderful engage by Nexo. Gets against the wall. The cleanse though was instant by Catalyst and will keep her alive.
Instant cleanse saves Cultist from a picky situation. Nextile was good with that E, landing it to the wall, making sure that she gets stunned. The cleanse was on point. Make sure that Cultist didn't suffer here. Just trying to clear one more wave. Maybe they'll look to push another one? That's kind of dangerous.
Another re-engage.
Ina is nowhere to be seen.
Igon is nearby. Colombo getting super low. Might have to blow the flash here, but a nice piercing arrow onto none. True goal means that they will not be able to push any further. And so it looked a little scary there for a second, but maybe it was all a bait for Rim and the jungler of G2 as they walk on down. Hygon gonna the back up away as the fight ends in all calm and no deaths.
No deaths so far. The 3-0 still stands. That was a very dangerous engage from Plumble Blue, as they didn't know they were up against 3, and Sheena was still on the top side of the map. They come running instantly. Sheena and Rim made sure that they had the advantage mid lane. They just came running to help bot in case it was needed. Fortunately for them, it wasn't. So let's see where they will impact the game next. As Rim is winning this mid lane matchup so easily. Like at 5 or 6 minutes, she had already a 20 CS lead with 2 kills. Like that is incredible for Zoe mid lane.
No, certainly, and it started basically from minute 2. There has not been a moment where
with a solo kill.
Yeah, there has not been a moment where Rim has fallen behind in CS, and I'm sure if we were to look at those gold leads, it would be disastrous here. I really also like the choice, the atomization here from Rim to opt into the Sorks here, just to, you know, enable more movement around the map. I mean, you have the value play around it, as right now, Nexo is trying to do exactly that. The engage onto the Poppy, a nice flash will keep him alive. Grand Starfall will be used to respond as they start up this Drake a little bit preemptively. We'll be able to get back onto it as a lot of cooldowns were used, but still, some ultimates available for G2 HEL.
Yeah, Sheena immediately had to flash out, otherwise she would get stunned and probably blown up. Meanwhile, they can still fight about this. There's a TP coming.
TP oh! The Colombo is the one who gets engaged on, actually, and Alan Stark follows through. Catalyst, Kaltos is going to follow as well, and now Sheena needs to get on out. They're going to go back. Drake, and what looked like a potential back and forth fight quickly turned around onto G2 HEL as a wonderful star shot there. Zoe does some damage across, but overall that would be a 1 fight for blue side, and it was a bad.
Yeah, Allpsych, they did exactly what you said they couldn't do, which was they made a whole team fight without Rim, without the damage dealer. Rim was nowhere to be seen. She was fighting Ambessa in the mid lane, if I'm not mistaken. So she couldn't really join the team fight. She couldn't land some bubbles, and without Rim's damage, clearly we can see that the G2 HEL squad still lacks a lot of it. They got out Poppy, if I'm not mistaken, but still there was not enough damage. It was just basically Cultists. Sheena got stunned, and Poppy just gets to run away freely. Meanwhile, Sheena has to use her own flash to make sure that they don't give a kill out of the gate when the Grand Starfall came. So from the get-go, this was already looking like a terrible team fight, and the fact that G2 HEL stuck around that tri-bush was the beginning of the downfall, let's say this way. So
I would agree.
That was clearly not the best choice. Let's hope they can bring it back.
I do agree largely with what you're saying too. I like to think that they had a good idea there for the engage, but like you said, the fact that Rim wasn't able to get down there for the time they were setting up, because you saw Zenith had TP down. As that fight was happening, Zenith was barely arriving, so clearly it was, I think, just Colombia Blue overextending a little bit too far forward. They took the opportunity before the rest of the solo laners could get to the fight, and it was just a wonderful reaction by Barcelona. They knew they had the numbers, they took the fight, and they instantly won it. And despite that, though, G2 HEL are still sitting in a firm lead, a firm position. It's not, end of the world, but it is nice for Barcelona to kind of get some more morale and some more, momentum behind their back.
Absolutely. As we see, Rim and Sheena just took away a blue buff from Gaming Barcelona. Meanwhile, Igon is trying to steal a Gromp. Zenith might stop him. Let's see.
Rotates.
Waiting for backup.
Does use a smite onto the camp, re-engages with the stun, gets caught up by the bubble. Sleepy trouble. No follow-up though, as backup and Dextile are there to cover him. Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to go in on the public execution there if you were a Zoe.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. We've checked the waters. Pantheon really had backup with Ambessa, Blade by backup, and that's a no-go. We've seen, okay, he took the Gromp, we already took a blue. There's no need to fight this out. G2 HEL needs to still remember that they kind of have the better late game. As Champion Select goes, they came out ahead, so they shouldn't be doing fights for the sake of fighting. They should be doing it focusing on objectives, focusing on what's the next big play happening on the map. And meanwhile, they have Cultist on the top side, farming up, getting a lot of CS, making sure that she closes out the first item that she still doesn't have. First and second item are very important for this Varus, as is the on-hit Varus with lethality. Oh my god, with the lethal tempo, I mean. Sorry. So yeah, we need time. We need to buy some time. G2 HEL doesn't need to rush anything here on this matchup, and make sure that they can come out ahead when time comes to fight.
Yeah, and I want to speak on something you mentioned earlier about how, kind of fighting over nothing. I always like to say that when it comes to League, hold on, excuse me, as Hygon deciding to stop this, Colombo in being engaged, has to flash away. Sheena now being the next target, as she does indeed go down to get a quick kill just as the Rift Herald has spawned. Kind of not the best scenario you want, and then that's just going to be started up and probably taken here by Barcelona.
Yeah, not at all. You don't ever want to lose your jungler right as Rift Herald is spawning, so it's an immediate pickup for Gaming Barcelona. Let's see if Zenith can at least answer with a tier 1 here on the bot side. Maybe there's time. There's a cannon wave, so decides not to commit as backup was here.
Yeah, talking a little bit more about that Rift Herald too. It is really saddening because Sheena, Sheena and Columbia Blue are just in the wrong place at the wrong time. They had G2 had wonderful lane assignments as well, right? They had sent Catalyst and Columbia Blue towards the top side in expectation for that Rift Herald spawn, right? So they were preparing the lanes for it, and it was just like the Drake, stepping forward a little bit too far.
Yeah, it was a little bit too much. A little bit too much, a little bit too early maybe. And unfortunately, it's the second objective in a row that goes this way.
It's okay, there's more though. There's more. Drake is on the way.
There's more to come. They don't have the what's it called? Bit of strength. Meanwhile, there's a dive on Zenith.
Japan has used his dominance early on to stay alive. A lot of healing coming through from that Q slash, able to slice and dice out of the way. There's a TP now being used here by Rim to get onto the fight, and with that, G2 HEL are able to prevent the death.
Beautifully played by Zenith, making sure that she doesn't go down on that dive. Fortunately for Gaming Barcelona, they didn't lose anyone as well, because that could have been a terrible dive in case Zenith managed to deal a little bit more damage onto Dextile.
And then Stark up in the top side, just going to be hitting this turret, getting free damage off as the Drake is spawning pretty soon here. Zenith going to be the one to counter. Of course, she does have that TP, so it will be very easy for both these laners to get down to the fight if they do indeed want to do that. We've seen G2 HEL in overall, I would say, a better position for this, but look at the counter.
Jhin is here.
Barcelona are just going to go for the dive, I think, and trade Turret and Drake for it.
Okay, that's feat of strength for G2 HEL. Zenith trying to run away from the second dive. I don't feel like she's gonna manage this time around. Wait.
Yeah, Zenith, nowhere to go, no dominance available. That is gonna be one dead crocodile there. As whoa, yeah, backup dying in the bot side.
Wait, what?
It truly is a trade of top laners there.
Was it Rim solo kill?
I think actually.
Was it a Rim solo kill? Oh my god. Holy, if there was a solo kill from Zoe, like, that's so much damage.
Onto Mbessa too.
That's not a squishy target.
They also know public execution reviews. Colombo, though, the game upon looks like they might be stepping on a little bit to a forward. Cultist be able to flash on out, and now the Rift Herald slamming into that turret, getting a lot of damage on. Alan Stark TPing up a little bit late to the fight, but it ends positively for Barcelona.
Oi, 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 2 towers and a half, because the Herald still managed to give one last headbutt as it was being smited away by Sheena. She still landed the damage onto that tier 3, so G2 has to be extra careful now that their base could be one push away from being open.
No, absolutely. It's also unfortunate that it is the top side, right? One bad fight into a Baron could result into a very quick end to the game. I know G2 HEL are smarter than that. They're stronger than that. They're not going to let that happen, but the potential is there, and that's scary. As Zenith gets caught by a charm. Now, the re-engage onto Hygon means he has to use a shield to block some of that damage. Going to be backing up away. Zenith looking maybe for a fight, but instead, everyone else just returns to a more neutral state. As Dexal over the wall, charge being held by Sheena, as she looks for another play. Charm being used. Dexal has to go down towards the bottom pit, and what are you doing? Hex Flash perfectly timed to get away. Public execution onto Sheena means a Jed jungler off the rip, but no, Rim with a wonderful sleepy troll bubble will not be able to connect onto any targets, and just so quickly as it started, it ends. G2 HEL lose their jungler, but they want to keep the fight going, able to hit yet another bubble. Rim does not miss, but Rim cannot do it alone. Colombo falls as well, and they will take this Drake second here for Barcelona after a common patient fight.
I feel like G2 HEL is trying to do too much at the same time where they don't need to. They had a good positioning, be able to at least fight for this Drake as long as they don't get caught. But meanwhile, again, Sheena and Colombo Blue a little bit too deep. They are still a little bit too squishy, so the damage is going to come through from Gaming Barcelona. They're going to be executed before the fight even starts. They just needed to play around with their cooldowns, play around with Rim's sleepy trouble bubbles. If those land, that's a guaranteed fight win. Like, they just needed one bubble and one battle star to make sure that they can then walk up and go for the objective. They are kind of rushing things, and I don't really like the way this is going right now, because I feel like there's a lot of nerves involved in this. I feel like they're precipitating themselves in order to... And they are basically just creating opportunities for the enemy team to punish them. And so far, it's like what Gaming Barcelona has been doing. They're just taking advantage of small mistakes that they've been going from the side of G2 HEL.
I have to agree. Barcelona have been acting as we described earlier. They've been reacting, right, to G2 HEL's plays. It just seems like G2 HEL are overthinking some of these fights. It's really just simple. You let Cultist and Rim get these poke shots in, right? You let the piercing arrows go out. You let the sleepy trouble bubbles land, and you wait for the perfect one, because you don't really have to start the fight, right? You have so much range. You have so much room to play with.
That's true.
There's no rush. G2 HEL feels like they just need to take a beat and relax a little bit.
Okay, this is good. At least they get a tier 2 going on the top side. So top side is like even right now as far as the minion waves go. Meanwhile, Gaming Barcelona is entering on bot side. They will manage to get at least a tower from this push. Maybe I can see a lot of blue pings onto the enemy jungle, onto the red side jungle. Maybe they are trying to do some sort of invade here. At least just some ward dropping onto the blue buff.
I mean, if we looked at the vision here, the map is like equally split up, right? You see Barcelona has a lot of vision down towards the bot side of the map. Meanwhile, G2 Hell has a lot of wards towards the top side jungle of Barcelona. So they really just have split this map up 2 ways, and it represents the sides that both these teams want to play on. And something I want to point out on, despite the fact that a lot of these most recent fights haven't really gone in favor of G2 Hell the way they would like, they're still sitting at a comfortable goal lead, and a lot of that really does have to be attributed to Rim and also Peltis, who's been farming up wonderfully. 210, nice lead over the opposing laners. Rim as well, of course. I mean, what more can we say about her? She's been doing superbly. Refuses to lose this game so far, right? But yeah, just props to both those players.
Yeah, Rim has been absolutely unstoppable. She got at least 2 solo kills from what we've seen, and from we haven't seen as well, because we didn't really see Anbessa go down, but we're pretty sure that it was all Rim landing a bubble and a battle star, maybe 2. Right now, look on the push on the mid lane. They're trying to dive this. This could be good for G2.
Forward, yeah, nice public execution onto Peltis, but they're able to get away. Now turn onto the Dexal to go down, followed by the Corki as well. And what was initially a fight started by Barcelona ends in disaster and victory for G2 Hell, as backup is able to narrowly get away, but that is a 3-4-0 for Barcelona. They didn't even get the tower, TB.
They get nothing, and this time around it was G2 reacting to whatever Barcelona did. So, as we've been saying, Rim gets another one.
No,
as we've been saying, they don't need to act as much, they need to react. And the first time that Gaming Barcelona actually takes the reins and tries to take the driver's seat, they end up losing massively, 4 kills to none.
Wonderfully done there, executed by G2 Hell. And it's like you say, it really has seemed like the team reacting has been the one winning out on all of these fights. And it's a weird engage for me. Hygon's Grand Starfall felt so premature and unnecessary there. It kind of forced his team to follow up to defend his position, because the tower hadn't gone down yet, right? So no matter what, he was going to go in there, he was going to take tower aggro. And look at the health on that. If you just wait a little bit more, maybe it's a very different play. The sleepy trouble bubble onto the support means a huge chunk there for Dextal. They want to keep this fight pushing. Nanshuko over the wall means he'll get to safety, and everyone else on Barcelona will be able to get away. But this Drake likely secured from G2 Hell as another bubble nearly landed. Does indeed do so, but maybe a little bit too far away for even Zoe.
Yeah, Rim was not counting on that hitting anyone, as she already moved away from the object, from the bubble itself. G2 does secure the objective this time around. Gaming Barcelona, they knew they had to respect the zoning tool, that having the bubbles come out from that dragon pit, the threat that imposes to them. They had to respect it. They had already Dextile on less than half of the HP. So immediately they cut their losses. They know that they shouldn't be fighting that, and they get back. That was the best decision they could do there. Luckily for G2, they still grab the objective. They can now try to fight around Baron. Okay.
My Baron as Rim
just goes back.
Yeah, nervous situation, able to dodge away though, of course, with that ultimate Hegon, though, gonna get forced to flash away there. Another sleepy troll bubble landing again. Rim forcing out the cleanse from Nanshuko. He didn't even trust his team to guard.
Yeah, the cleanse came out. The bubble didn't quite. The battle star didn't quite land second time around. But look, this is when it gets really scary to play against a fat Zoe. Is that when you're fighting around the jungle, a battle star or a bubble can come out of nowhere. Look at Alan Stark HP. God damn.
It's just beautiful Zoe gameplay. I love this. When you see good Zoe gameplay, it really just feels so wonderful, because you're like, why can't I do that? Rim now walking away from that Grand Starfall, hitting the creepy troll bubble again, because of course she does. Baron being taken on the other side. Hegon trying to get in. Can he get to the steal? I don't know if he'll be able to do though. No, it's secured by Sheena. The fight following through though. Public execution on Catalyst, but able to flash away. Gonna be going down to support. But they take the fight. The team falls. Alan Stark, the only living survivor.
That's a triple for Rim. Meanwhile, the team is trying to chase down the Ahri. There's no ultimate on that Fox, but still she's gonna manage to run away. 4 of the other teammates have gone down. This is Baron secured by G2HEL. They can open up the base. The tier 3s are being attacked right now.
Big too.
Sorry?
The timers are pretty big too here. They can get quite a lot done. They'll be able to get the top inhibitor and likely the bottom one as well. Yeah.
At least double inhibitor.
Pushing through. Colombo Blue is going to help get this turret. It looks like they're just going to get the one. That's all right. You take what you can get. Play it safe, right? It's fine.
They don't need to play overconfident at this moment and throw it all away. But like the fact that Gaming Barcelona tried to split up the fight and they kind of tried to make sure that Rim couldn't participate, just gave Rim a lot of space to do whatever she wanted during that team fight. She was untouched. She just landed bubbles after bubbles, paddle stars after paddle stars, and the damage is there. There's a triple for our mid laner, and there was a fight. I mean, I'm at a loss of words right now. I don't feel like there was a clear plan going to this team fight from Gaming Barcelona, because they just tried to ignore Rim.
No, I gotta agree. Gaming Barcelona, they probably just felt super pressured in that moment to make a play, right? They engaged a lot of resources. Hegon, once again, he's the Grand Starfall. I feel like every time I pan over to this Pantheon, he's ulting somewhere. But yeah, it just seemed like they had used quite a lot of resources to kind of get towards Rim, and when they couldn't do so and saw the Baron so close to HP, they probably were just like, we gotta go, right? We can't let them get it for free. They felt like they rushed to do something, and it resulted in a lost team fight here, as now we see G2L making expert use of this Baron, pushing in the top and mid wave, making it as hard as possible for Gaming Barcelona to contest this, as another Sleeping Trouble Bubble lands. Nice use of the Valkyrie to get away, but it's going to be a slow, encroaching onslaught here from G2HEL.
Yeah, slowly but surely. They are playing well with the waves. They're playing well with the Baron empowered play. Let's see if they can open up this last tier 3 turret. While the siege continues, Zenith is trying to join. Because a fight might be brewing. Backup is solo, and the engage is on.
Engages on, they're on straight onto the Mbessa. They goes down immediately now with the Corki's the next target. The Poppy ult will save the ADC's life, but Rim secures it, because of course, looking for more fights. Alan Stark using the Spear Rush to get away. That is 2 members down here, and 2 inhibs down as well. 1 more exposed. They might be looking to end here, TB. They're engaging more. Hegon trying to clear the wave. They're onto the top turret. 1 more. Well, they have a wave here. Looking for the engage. What can they do? Gaming Barcelona have to make a play now if they want to stay alive. Engage onto Zenith. Gets a knock up onto against the wall. But Zenith is so tanky. Able to get away. She does indeed die in the end, but they keep on the fight going. Alan Stark trying to get the charm. Will indeed miss. Cultist trying to get the damage on. No one's looking at Cultist. Gonna get damage down across as the Vi will shoot out across. The Nexus is open. Now it's just the Mbessa, but a wonderful dodge, and that's just game for G2HEL. They secure their spot in the playoffs.
What a beautiful game it was. What a banger. Congrats to the winners. Come out on top and secure that 6th place. That still gives room for playoffs. Well done. Well done, girls. This was an amazing game. And I feel like we have a clear MVP, right, Alsaik? Right? We have a clear MVP.
You know what? I think it might have been Colombo Blue. Maybe maybe that would have been the MVP. Giving the enemy a false sense of security. But no. It has to be Rim. Of course. The Sleepy Trouble Bubbles. It felt like she just was not missing anything and all the things that matter. She was hitting them.
Yeah, and what confidence play! Like what a confident play it was from Rim. Like since the very beginning, at minute 2, she had a solo kill. She dove for that solo kill. Like that's a tremendous amount of confidence to be able to pull those type of plays in games that matter so much, like this ones. That is brilliant. That is what a pro player should aim to do at all time, but it's unrealistic to have them do it at all time. And on this game, Rim played spectacularly, and the Zoe is probably gonna get banned It's probably gonna get banned sometime in the future.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it was something you'd see banned in like a series, right? Just probably something you wouldn't want to see. But it's a shame too, though, because it was so good that I want more. You know, I want more content. I want to see what more can come out of Rim, of course, because it was just it felt like when Rim was around and they focused and played around her bubbles, they won the fights. Right. Initially, they were having some
Exactly.
issues. Barcelona were able to get a lot of leads across, but it just felt like they hadn't. That it was G. It was because G2 Hell was not necessarily performing how they should have. Right.
Mm.
Not because Barcelona was performing better. So overall, they cleaned it up. They improved throughout the course of the game, and you got to give them props for that.
Yeah, absolutely. They gotta get some props for that. It was a banger game, as we've seen. It was bloody. It was a little bit with ups and downs. Even though I don't feel like G2L actually ever lost the advantage that they had. Um,
There was like a little
there
moment
was
where
a
like
moment where it
Barcelona
kind of
was
got evened
like,
out,
yeah,
but like
but like not very long, not very long.
they were always ahead, even if it was slightly after a few mistakes that we've seen on the mid game.
Mhm,
That, as well as we said prior to this game, that's probably where they've been struggling a little bit more.
mhm,
But still, they managed to come out on top. They played reactively when it mattered the most, and they built on it. Like all it took was basically that one big mistake from Igon with the Pantheon ult on
mhm.
the mid lane, and G2Hell just managed to capitalize and make sure that that blew the game out of proportion, and they had time and space to go for the objectives. They got a Drake right after that. After they managed to sneak a Baron as well. That was brilliant play. After that moment, I feel like G2Hell just really clicked together, and they
Yeah,
played flawlessly after that one dive.
I have to agree. The I feel like the catalyst for that game, especially, was like you said earlier in the mid lane, that very first dive. Um, it felt like it threw the Ari off her game for the rest of it. Like the Ari obviously
Yeah,
was around, but it just felt like she was never had an opportunity to have the impact you'd want. And when you have her as the only AP damage, right, it just further contributed to why I think part of the reason why Rim was just such a standout, right? It made one of these lanes just feel absolutely useless. And so despite the losses and everything, the coordination towards the end and the fact that it seemed like there was a 4v5 in so many
hmm
situations, it just led overall to a great one and in a wonderful endgame push. Wonderful endgame push to catch out the players underneath those turrets and end quickly. Because realistically, a lot of teams might not have been able to end in that scenario.
that's true. That's true. I still felt it was a little bit risky, especially when
Mhm, no, yeah,
when Sheena is such a low HP and there's an Ari
yeah,
with
yeah.
resets trying to go forward. But as you said, I feel like the Ari was out of the game almost completely because of the early game from Rim. And the moment that Sheena comes back to the fight with the ultimate, and they manage to just immediately kill one of the two remaining elements from Gaming Barcelona. That was game, but that took confidence as well. That could have been easily a mistake exploited by Gaming Barcelona that could bring them back into the game. So yeah. All
Okay,
right, I
wonderful,
feel
wonderful.
like we have ourselves an interview coming up, and I'm pretty
Woo!
sure it's with Colombe Bleu Bleu. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
How are
Hi.
you feeling after that win? What a wonderful win! Exciting game, I bet.
Yeah, thank you. I'm feeling a bit very happy, of course, and as well that frustrated because we didn't play as much as we should with our tempo. We were always kind of late when we were supposed to be early on objective sometimes, which cost us some moves. But except that, I'm still really happy about the performance overall because we did play way more as it seemed than last week for sure. And yeah, I'm happy as well. Like shout out to Rim as well that play a very good game of Zoe today, and yeah, of my teammates as well that kept their calm as much as possible when we kinda did some oopsies. So yeah, I'm happy.
Mhm.
All right. I mean, I gotta ask, what was going through the team's head when you saw that, for example, on the early game, we've seen that you and Cultis have a really good trade level 1, and then obviously you gotta respect the level 2. You know that Corky is kind of dangerous in that situation alone. You guys back up. Cultis is farming well under tower. Everything is going normally and quite in a expected way in the bot lane. Then suddenly Ambessa is there. Do you feel like that call from Gaming Barcelona was a shot on the foot, or were you guys expecting it? Tell me what went through your mind.
We didn't expect that because for me, like she was losing a wave on Beza for that. But we should have definitely TP way earlier for that first second Drake. Because Poppy lost her flash, Koki had no cleans. So if we TP, we even had like a TP flank, for example. I truly believe if we TP like a bit earlier and in a way where we can put way much pressure on them, it would have been really great because that team fight we could definitely win it by far. But I guess we, I don't know, maybe miscommunicated or didn't see it faster. Or maybe people didn't understand or we didn't play at the same page. I don't know. This is something that we are going to review and work on anyway. But yeah, since like few weeks, we are really trying to play with more synergy and cohesion and try to just like do less individual plays. Even though, like for example, Rim, it worked really well because she stomped her lane by far. But we try sometimes to just like relax a bit more so we can play more with our tempo. Together as a team.
Okay. I feel like we
I
totally agree on
wanted to
that,
ask
right,
a question.
Alsike?
Yeah, I 100% agree. You brought up synergy and talking about how the team wanted to, been practicing working together and really making less individual plays, making more teams plays together. And I want to say this is a draft that definitely requires that what you're talking about, that sort of synergy. So is drafts like these something that your team have been picking up more, where you're kind of playing more pick comps where to require coordination as of late?
I mean, even when you play front to back, for example, or disengage, you need a lot of patience as a team. And when you engage, you need to be like coordinated for the team fight as a team as well for the target and stuff. So every team comp has their own synergy requirement, kind of. So we are working on that, especially those last weeks. So yeah, we don't stick to one gameplay because in this meta, since you can't lane swap anymore, you have to either front to back, either engage. Sometimes you have to flank. Sometimes you have to play pickup comps as well. So you always have to play a bit of everything, even though you might have a preferred team comp sometimes. So yeah, we try to just have a better synergy. And I
Be
think we
varied.
are doing it. We are not like as fast as we want, but we are trying our best for sure.
Yeah, and it shows in the gameplay, right? It just shows in the gameplay and the performance today. So massive props.
Thank you.
Right. I feel like I just have one last question, and it goes according to what we've been saying here on the cast itself. We felt like whenever you as in the team were taking decisions, they might have not been the best. Early game, the way that you contested the Drake was not the best. It turned out poorly, and I feel like once you started losing those fights and you felt like you were kind of getting behind, made you the game state made you play a little bit more reactively, and that's when we saw the real G2L start to kick in, and we saw real synergy from you. Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like after the game started slipping away a little bit from your hands, that's the moment when G2L actually performed kind of almost flawlessly from that dive onwards? It felt like the game was only in your hands.
I don't know. I don't know if we're better under pressure. I don't know that, to be fair. But we for sure need to win. So since we want to win and we have to win, we'll do our possible to just win. So yeah, that's why we never give up.
Beautifully.
Never give up.
Beautifully.
Word of the day. Phrase of the day. Excuse me.
Well, thank you very much, Klumblubel, for joining us, and congrats on the win. We're really glad you managed to pull through.
And thank you so much
And
for
good luck on
casting
playoffs.
us. Thank you. I mean, we have to win 2 more games, but let's go.
All
For
right.
sure, we'll go.
Let's go. We believe in you. We believe. Wow.
Well,
We can definitely see that the relief is not totally there, because there's still games going. There's still 2 more games
yeah.
on this super week, as we call it. And yeah, we see that the team is getting a little bit more work done and the synergy, and it showed not for the entirety of the game, but for the most part of the game, and for most importantly, they grabbed a much needed win.
It's definitely going to be something that going on to the next games, you're not going to want to miss out, right? Like you said, 2 more games left in the Super Week. And so if they are going to be playing at this caliber, obviously still high stakes on the line, you just make sure to be around for it, right? There's going to be games that are going to be high intense and definitely worth watching. So I'm very excited to see them myself.
Absolutely. Well, and from us, that's everything, folks. Thank you very much, Alsaik, for being here on the casting with myself. And thank you, everyone at home that has been watching and supporting G2Hell on this Liga Nexo saga. They are one step closer to the playoffs, and we hope to see them there. So stay tuned. They will come back tomorrow. There will be more games, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Deep end. No, I don't need a reason, lose control. Pour me a glass, I toss it back, forget responsibility. It's hard to be 23 and don't know what's in front of me. Sleep is for the dead, now looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels, will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Sleep is for the dead, now looking for comfort. Rather be a wreck than just be another person spinning their wheels, will do anything to feel like I'm not growing up. Wake up, it's a Monday morning. Life really shouldn't be so boring. Nothing